Hello students, today I am starting the third chapter of history, first phase of the Indian nationalist movement 1885 to 1907. These three phases of the Indian national movement, first is the early nationalists. They aimed at gaining more concessions for Indians. They adopted purely constitutional methods such as making petitions and praying to the government for acceptance of their moderate demands. They made those demands in the form of resolutions and petitions. Second phase is the aggressive phase. They aimed at socio-economic and political progress of the people, leading to Swaraj as the ultimate goal. Their methods included the extremist measures such as Swadeshi, Swaraj, national education and boycott. The third is Gandhian phase. They aimed at Purna Swaraj, that is complete independence. The method included Gandhi's non-violent, non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience and satyagraha. Now the early nationalists. Who were the early nationalists or the moderates? From 1885 to 1905 AD, the Congress was led by a group of leaders known as moderates or early nationalists. They were known moderates because their method of struggle was quite moderate. The prominent leaders of the moderates were Dadabhai Nauroji, Firoz Shah Mehta, Vomesh Chandra Banerjee, etc. These were in Bengal W.C. Banerjee, Rajbihari Ghosh, Surendranath Banerjee and R.C. Dutt, etc. In Maharashtra and Gujarat, Dadabhai Nauroji, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Firoz Shah Mehta and Justice Ranade, etc. In Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, P.R. Naidu, Subramanya Iyer and Ananda Charlu. In Uttar Pradesh, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. Now, what were the objectives of the moderates or the early nationalists? To awaken and organize organic public opinion, to arouse political consciousness and national spirit of the Indians, to educate and unite Indians on common political and economic issues, to create a strong British public opinion in favor of the genuine grievances of the Indians, to establish colonial form of self-government. Now the beliefs of the early nationalists or the moderates. Most of the Congress leaders of this period believed that the English were just and freedom-loving people. They had faith in the British sense of justice and fair play and believed in loyalty to the British Crown. They believed that simply by presenting and pleading their case before the British Parliament and the British people, justice would be done. The Congress was proud of its British connections and looked to England for inspiration and guidance. They recognized the benefits of the English rule, especially the English language and modern means of transport and communication. They also tried to purge the society of its evils like sati, child marriage, untouchability, etc. They believed in national unity and liberalism, patience, reconciliations rather than in violence and confrontation. Now the program of the early nationalists or the moderates. The Congress used to meet every year towards the end for 3 days or so. It would disperse after adopting certain resolutions and listing their demands, which can be classified into the following categories. The first one is political program or the constitutional reforms. The early nationalists or the moderate demanded to form the Governor General's Legislative Council at the centre and expansion of Provincial Legislative Council, as established under the Indian Council Act of 1861 AD. Second is to give more powers to the legislative councils at the centre and provinces to enable them to discuss the budget. To seek the abolition of the Indian Council in England. to complete the separation of the executive from the judiciary, to establish the colonial form of self-government in India as in Canada and Australia, to demand for Indian control over public purse. They raised the slogan "No taxation without representation." Second is administrative reforms. They demanded wider employment to Indians in higher jobs under the government. Second is Indianization of civil services and ICS examination to be held in England and India. Representation of Indians in the Executive Council of the Viceroy and the provincial governors. Higher jobs to Indians in the army. Raising of the Indian Volunteer Force. Repeal of the Arms Act of 1878 AD and the License Act. An increase in the powers of the local bodies and reducing official control on them. Separation of executive and judicial functions so as to protect Indians from arbitrary acts of police. Spread of primary, technical and higher education among the masses. Improvement in the police system to make it honest, efficient and popular. Socio-economic program were reduction in the rate of land revenue, reduction in the rate of interest from the peasants charged by the jamidars, availability of cheap credit to the peasants from agricultural banks, development in the irrigation system, banking, medical and health facilities for people, duty on sugar and salt to be totally abolished, tariff protection for industrial growth, government loans for the development of iron, coal, paper and sugar industries in India, reduction in expenditure on the home government charges and on the army so that the money saved to be spent on health, education and other social services. More funds for technical education be provided. An inquiry to be made in India's growing poverty and famines and remedial steps taken. Next is program relating to civil rights and liberties. The early nationalists demanded the following civil rights and liberties: right to freedom of speech and expression. Next is right to assemble and to form association and to organize meetings to educate the people. Right to circulate leaflets and pamphlets and repeal of the laws imposing censor on the press, that is Vernacular Press Act. Repeal of preventive detention acts and civil liberties. So it becomes clear from the above description that the Congress under the moderates demanded a few concessions and some rights but not freedom for India. Now we will read about the methods of struggle of the early nationalists. The methods of struggle of the early nationalists were known as the constitutional agitation. This included discussions, processions, speeches, peaceful propaganda through press, memoranda, sending delegations to the government in India and England. In short, prayers, petitions and pleas were the methods used by them. So these are the following methods they used. The first is by resolution and petitions. The Indian National Congress was influenced and dominated by the moderates. Therefore, the Indian National Congress wanted to adopt peaceful means or methods for the fulfillment of its demand. They criticized the improper policies of the British government in India, but at the same time they also proved that they were loyal to the British government in India. Next is by newspapers. The early nationalists used the newspapers for preparing public opinion and for the propagation of their views and opinions. In these newspapers, the articles or essays by the moderate leaders of the Indian National Congress were published. Through these, the people of India came to know about the policy of the British government in India. Next is by deputation. The early nationalists also adopted the method of sending deputations for the fulfillment of its program and to divert the attention of the British government in India towards the special or the particular subjects. These deputations made the government officers and employees familiar with the feelings of the people of India. Next is by raising issues in the Imperial Legislative Council. Many Congress leaders like Gopal Krishna Gokhale also tried to raise the public issues in the Imperial Legislative Council. Failures of the early nationalists. The early congressmen have been criticized on the following grounds. They have been named armchair politicians. The method used by them, that is passing resolutions, sending petitions, were criticized. They failed to realize that the British and the Indian interest clashed with each other. Britain was using India's resources to increase its wealth. The early nationalist leaders failed to draw the masses into the mainstream of the national movement. Their area of influence was limited to the urban, educated Indians. Their leadership was confined to professional groups such as lawyers, doctors, journalists, and teachers. Achievements of the moderates. In spite of many limitations, the moderates laid the foundation of the national movement which ultimately gained freedom for India. The first is foundation of secular and democratic national movement. The early nationalist leaders started a movement that incorporated people of all religions, caste, creeds, reasons and color. They were successful in promoting the spirit of common brotherhood. Next is political education of the Indian. They were successful to a great extent in arousing political awakening and national consciousness among the Indians. They popularized the ideas of democracy and civil liberties. Next is exposure of the true nature of the British rule. They successfully exposed the true nature of the British imperialism in India. They told the people how the Britishers were exploiting the Indian economy. Early nationalist leader like Dadabhai Naoroji, through his book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India, highlighted how the British were draining India's resources. Next is social reforms. The early nationalists like Govind Ranade and Gopal Krishna Gokhale were the supporter of social reforms in India. They raised their voice against social evils such as child marriage, sati system, etc. Next is formation of various commissions and committees. Their efforts resulted in the appointment of a Public Service Commission in 1886, passing a resolution in the House of Commons 1893, examination for ICS in London and India, and appointment of the Welby Commission on Indian Expenditure 1895. Next is Indian Council Acts. Besides these, another significant achievement which may be attributed to the early nationalists was the passing of the Indian Council Act of 1892 AD, under which association of Indians in law-making bodies were accepted. The Legislative Council also got the power to discuss the budget. So, although the methods of these early nationalists were criticized as political mendicancy, that is political begging, yet the above points prove that the early nationalists had definitely some achievements to their credit. So we may say that the early nationalists laid the foundation of a well-organized national movement. They exposed the true nature of the British rule and contributed the political education of Indians. In spite of their several failures, the early nationalists laid a strong foundation for the national movement to grow upon which the magnificent building of free India was built. So in our next video, we will read about the prominent moderate leaders.